I did. I traveled from Sydney. I relocated. It was quite a challenge. I have to admit that some days I dragged myself to college, and just because I need to show up, it wasn't always like I felt, that it was so easy to just keep going. There were certain challenges, and but out of all those challenges, I believe I've come further on the journey with God than if I were to do it any other way.
Yeah, you came off of Charis and decided to do day school. Why did you pick day school over, and what drew you to Charis in the first place?
I discovered Andrew Wommack's ministries at a time when I was in solitude. First time I was on my own in about 34 years.
Wow.
When I first listened to Andrew Wommack, his messages were simple, but yet completely biblical based, and I found it very refreshing. And then I also discovered that he had a treasure trove of material available, which I could freely avail myself of. I found his teaching on how to find, follow, and fulfill the will of God. So it was a 15-hour teaching, and during those lockdown days of COVID, I managed to get away in solitude and spend a lot of time listening to those messages. And after spending many hours, I felt that God really wanted me to start to do Charis.
So you started with Charis?
So I started with Charis. I was very enthusiastic, and I did Charis in about 4 months or something along those lines. Started in July, I think, and finished in December, so maybe 5 months. Quite focused on knowledge, and therefore I felt that the element that was missing in the first year was the togetherness, being together with fellow believers. And during those COVID isolation, it was fairly lonely, so I really wanted to get together with fellow believers, and which is why I did the second year full-time on campus.
So you traveled from Sydney, relocated?
I did. I traveled from Sydney. I relocated. It was quite a challenge. I have to admit that some days I dragged myself to college, and just because I need to show up, it wasn't always like I felt, that it was so easy to just keep going. There were certain challenges, and but out of all those challenges, I believe I've come further on the journey with God than if I were to do it any other way.
Charis is the How-To Bible College, helping you go deeper in your understanding and know how to apply the Word of God to your everyday life. The world needs to know the transformative power of the grace and love of God. When we allow God to change our life, we can't help but change the world. Our mission is to equip faithful men and women for the work of the ministry by teaching spiritual truths, imparting biblical knowledge, providing practical ministry opportunities, and grounding them in the message of God's unconditional love and grace. Charis Bible College, transforming lives, training leaders, and changing the world.